Hey guys, welcome to another No Swear Gamer video. Today I want to show you my Vidpro display card collection. What these cards are is back in the 80s and 90s, stores didn't want to leave video games, which would cost 50, 60, 70 bucks, just out for people to, stuff in their jackets and shoplift. So they'd put these cards out instead that would show you the front and back of the box. And in a case of like a Toys R Us, where these are probably the most well known for being used, they would have a ticket underneath that would have the price. And if you wanted to buy the game, maybe the ticket would say $39.99. You lift up the ticket, you take it, you pay for it. Then you go to what I call the Cave of Wonders, this little room in the back where you give them the receipt and the ticket, and they give you the game that you just purchased. And in the case of Toys R Us, sometimes you'd see tickets that were yellow or orange or red, indicating they were on clearance. So I don't know if some of these early cards are made by Vidpro, but Vidpro was a company that made a lot of these cards. When I was a kid, I thought the store made them just by cutting the front and back of the boxes. But these are actually smaller, slightly smaller than an NES box. So I'll show you some of my NES ones first. Now, one thing you have to realize is if you flip it like this, it looks like it's upside down. But they were flip cards, so you'd hang them up and you'd flip them like that to look at the back. So I have Rad Racer 2. Let's look at some of these. And again, I don't know who made these ones, but I have Super Off-Road. And this just brings back memories of going down toy aisles and just looking at these, like Bases Loaded 2, second season. How about Al Unser Jr. Turbo Racing, Kings of the Beach, Punch-Out when they took Mike Tyson out of the game, and Dodgeball. So some classics there. So again, I don't know if these were made by Vidpro. There's no markings of who made these cards. And then here was some other NES ones. These are Vidpro ones. And some of these are faded because they were out in the light all the time. They got a fade to them. So we got Hoops, Faz Xanadu, if I said that right, Goal, Blades of Steel, Rad Racer, and Super Spike V-Ball and Double Dribble. And I'll show you the backs of them too real quick. Just to, if you're like me, you just remember flipping these cards up and reading the backs and just imagining. And do you remember that you had 3D glasses inside of Rad Racer? There was a 3D mode. But sometimes your whole decision on a game was based on what these cards showed. And the older ones, like the NES, are the harder ones to come by. Or at least they cost the most. But I have some Super Nintendo where they shrunk the box. So we have Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat 3, Toy Story. And you can see this was a Walmart one. So that was $49.96. And Illusion of Gaia. And is there another one stuck? Yeah, NBA Jam TE. And it's really hard to read these little SNES boxes when they shrunk them down. So those are my Super Nintendo ones. And then I have some Sega Genesis cards, which are the ones I remember the most. So you got Echo, Tides of Time, again, Toy Story. These are the budget title, Greatest Hits, the Sonic Classics Collection, Lion King, and then Sonic 3. All these were the mega value games. So some cool stuff there. I like Sonic, the Sonic Classics, just seeing all the screenshots. And then for Sega CD, I got Earthworm Jim Special Edition, a pretty rare game. It's somewhat obscure. And for the Game Boy, I got one Game Boy. I have Donkey Kong. And you can see Vidpro, Dallas, Toronto. That's how I know the rest of these are Vidpro. Got some 3DO ones like Road Rash, Dragon Lore, Myst. And they're really thin. They feel like a cardboard, a thin cardboard that was maybe coated with a little bit of plastic. So, and then for the Nintendo 64, we got Doom, Killer Instinct Gold, and a controller. Yeah, they even sold accessories this way. That way, again, you don't have to leave them out. And you can choose which color you want. And how about some Virtual Boy? So we got Nestor's Funky Bowling, Vertical Force, $9.96, Virtual League Baseball, and Golf. Look at that. Looks like you're looking at your feet. Ooh, and that's that almost gives you a headache, just like the Virtual Boy. And you can see some of the screenshots, which the Virtual Boy, it wasn't good at, screenshots because of the nature of it, which is one of the reasons why it didn't do as well. And I'm a big Sega Saturn fan, and I ended up getting quite a few Sega Saturn cards. Quite a few, actually. So we got Lunacy, Mr. Bones, Shining Wisdom, Hyper 3D Pinball, High Octane, Cyber Speedway, I think there's another one. Oh, yep, don't want to forget Dark Light Conflict, Robotica, Air of Zender, Black Dawn, Area 51, Blackfire, and the Netleak mouse. If you want to get a mouse for your Sega Saturn, I got a card for you. Off-World Interceptor, some arcade greatest hits from Midway, Destruction Derby, Sonic R, remember the Sonic racing game? Independence Day, Battle Stations, some more Midway greatest, Nights into Dreams with the 3D control pad inside, Virtual Cop 2, SimCity 2000, Alien Trilogy, Sonic Jam, goes good with Sonic Peanut Butter. And I'll just flip through the backs really quickly, but I really dig these. These really took me back. And while I'm doing these, I'll tell you, typically on eBay, they're kind of hard to find. I was lucky I did find some lots, but usually they're just sold individually. And usually, it seems the going rate is between $10 to $20 a card. Of course, if you get them in lots, you might get them cheaper. That's how I was able to get several of them. But usually they go for 10 to 20, but they don't sell all that often. Some people, if it's like a very popular game, like if it was like a Super Mario Brothers 3 for the Nintendo, they might ask a lot of money, like $50 to $100. And there's even some that are just prototypes. But they don't sell. Some of them, those crazy asking prices, they haven't got them. So it's just one of those things where maybe you're looking for a specific game. You might want to check it out. And here's some of my PlayStation ones. I ended up getting a lot of PlayStation. This is around the time that they stopped doing this. They kind of changed the way displays worked. I don't like how, in this case, they kind of don't use the whole card, but for Road Rash, they do. And that might have been because it was like a long box game, but I like them using the whole card for the art. Destruction Derby 2, Twisted Metal, Namco Museum, Jet Moto, Wing Commander 4, more Doom. We got Doom everywhere. Rush, San Francisco Rush, Ridge Racer Revolution, Warcraft 2, Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, Raiden Project, another Ridge Racer game. And there you go. You can buy your controller for $24.96. Before they had the DualShock, you could just buy a single controller. Then the Star Wars fighting game, Frogger for the PlayStation, Darkstalkers, Soviet Strike, another SimCity, another Road Rash. Oh, do I have two of those? Wow. Namco Museum. See, I don't even know. The Lost World. And this one was kind of interesting because there was a Fun Saver little promotion attached to the card. So it looks like they were using the real estate. You got the Rampage. And here's another one of Namco Museum Volume 1 where that wasn't the cover art, but instead they opted just to show you all the games that were in it. NBA Jam, Alone in the Dark, and 2 Extreme. So I'll just flip through the backs of these real quickly. So there you go. It is the Vidpro Display Cards. I like them. It brings me back. And maybe that's because I did a lot of window shopping when I was a kid. My parents, we'd come to Toys R Us. I didn't have a lot of money growing up. When I went to Toys R Us, I rarely bought stuff because I just didn't have the money. My family just didn't have the money. So I'd spend more time just looking at the cards and kind of daydreaming than actually buying it. So for me personally, this means a lot, just to take this little part of my childhood and bring it back. And maybe you remember going to Toys R Us and flipping through cards. And some people just may have bought games just based on the cover art alone. But other people, of course, had the opportunity to play games at a friend's house or rent them. And then for other people, it was just, I'm going to read the card and daydream about it. So that's the Vidpro Display Cards. Again, about $10 a piece on eBay, but between 10 and 20. Sometimes more, sometimes less, sometimes a lot more. But it's a pretty cool collectible. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, click like and subscribe, and I will see you next time on the next No Swear Gamer video.